All right, so welcome everybody. If you are watching this on YouTube back again, well done. I don't know why you would do that. Maybe something really cool happened. Maybe something really interesting happened, and you've come back here to find out what happened when it all started. Maybe you're here to listen to the first instance of Cricket Web commentary on YouTube, which is the first test post-outbreak, post-pandemic. England in the West Indies. No, it's not. It's West Indies in England as Southampton. I'm so good at this job, aren't I?
Really good. You're nailing it.
And Nitesh is here. Say hi, Nitesh.
So,
And my name is Jake, better known on the forums as How's That, as you may presumably already know, because who else would be doing this, right? And I hope that you're able to listen to this. I'm going to be posting the link shortly. I don't think
um,
anybody's going to be you're able to get themselves listening immediately,
great
but
ball to get beverages out.
we'll see what happens.
See that?
No, I did not, because I'm busy posting links and all sorts of crazy business.
So I'm watching highlights of another game, like a teaser. Some really good content by Sky Sports, even though it is surprisingly raining in England in July. The toss has been delayed, so we don't actually have any cricket live yet. Sky Sports doing the best they can to entertain us. Now they're showing us highlights of a old tour of West Indies to England. I wish I could give you more information, but I've got my sound down on low. Let me turn it up, see if I can put together what they're saying. Yeah, so Vivich is bowled for 37 at 192. The score is 192. Michael Holding is here on screen.
Yeah, so did you know anything about this series before Sky decided to do a bit about it? It seemed like, they're talking about England as this big underdog story, and they also wanted to show off this Sky being, the birth of Sky Sports really being associated with this series as well, which I'm not entirely sure is true, but they seem to be keen on the idea. But yeah, a real underdog story. England went to the West Indies when the West Indies were by far the best team in the world, after they had already had not only a nightmare series against Australia in the 1989, where they infamously used 370 different players and lost 4 of the 6 tests and won none. And then on top of this, they also had a bunch of their players, including people like Mike Gatting, famously, going to South Africa on a rebel tour at the same time that this was set up. And David Gower was not available for selection for some reason, and they won a test. They actually managed to win a test before West Indies came back strongly and turned out to be the better side. But they exceeded expectations by all means. I don't know if you're familiar with this series at all.
World Cup.
Pardon? Hello?
Hello? Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
When did the series happen?
1990 it happened.
1990.
Yeah.
West Indies already on the way down by that point. One time they declined, but
You could say so, but they weren't actually beaten in a series. They were 18 series unbeaten going into this.
the first loss. This is the one that ended their unbeaten streak.
No, because England still lost. They just exceeded expectations.
Oh my god. All they did was pull off an upset.
All they did was pull off the first test victory, and the second test, if I recall correctly, which they'll go over apparently next time in this documentary series, was a rain ruined game that England were actually on top in. It was controversially rained off, and then the West Indies came back strongly in the last 2 tests and managed to get a hold of the series. But yeah, on paper it was an absolutely atrocious England team that went over there. What about these sides? What are you thinking as we wait for the toss?
Before live dynamics in this series are very similar to the style dynamics in the previous series where West Indies toured England.
Hmm.
And West Indies exceeded expectations, pulled off something great. And it's mostly the same crew come back around for a second crack at it. Because the question is, have they gotten better? Have they gotten worse? Have they stagnated? England, as we know, are killing it in limited overs cricket, and they have a formidable looking test side. There are questions over the batting lineup, but I think they're one of those teams that's going to perform better than people give them credit for. Like the names are not going to look flashy, but they're going to get results. So it's going to be interesting.
I think both sides are coming in with a much stronger bowling attack than they are batting lineup. I don't think anybody would really argue that
Yep.
point. So we are probably going to have a low scoring series. We're probably going to have a low scoring first day, given the gloom when we
Mm-hmm.
manage to get out there. Um, England look vulnerable to me. They haven't got Joe Root. He's out
Mm-hmm.
observing the birth of his second child, which I am reliably informed this morning has happened. So congratulations to him.
Oh, yay.
Um, but that means that their number four bat Root is out. Their 5 and 6 with Stokes and Pope looks pretty good, but not exactly um, consistent, proven performers over a long period of time. Stokes is by far the best batsman in the side, and he is, a guy with an average of 37, which is not quite telling of his ability, but it isn't the kind of record you want for your best, most proven batsman. Around that, they've got a lot of new guys like Sibley, Crawley, guys who are just sort of starting to find their feet in tests, like Joe Burns and somebody who uh, I find that pundits have a difficult time explaining the role of, which is Joe Denley. So it is, it's not a strong England team. It is a strong England bowling attack. They have apparently made the decision to leave out Stuart Broad, which I think is
Real
perhaps,
happening?
yeah. Well, I mean, apparently they might change their mind when it comes to the toss because of all the dampness. They might think that Stuart Broad actually is going to be real handful compared to someone like Mark Wood. Um, it's not the decision that I would make, but it is quite a positive for England that they're able to justifiably, in some senses, do that when Stuart Broad is such a proven bowler.
They played on best.
They are going to play Dom Bess, I think. I think it would be very foolish to go in with 5 seamers and no spinner at all. By far the leading wicket taker at the Ageas Bowl is Moeen Ali in tests.
Best can bat a bit as well, so fits the token spinner role.
It's true. If in this team with no Curran and no Wokes, Bess would bat at number 8, which is 8 is a position with some batting responsibility, isn't it?
Important. I would argue most important batting positions, not in terms of skill, but in terms of personality, will be 6, 7, 8. Because you obviously want your most skillful at the top because they're more likely to negate the bowlers, especially if they can get the head dialed in.
Mm.
Do you want guys coming in 5, 6, and 7 to have the personality to do either rebuild in a crisis or to counter attack and take the game forward? So someone like Stokes, for instance, is brilliant at that.
I mean, it's not unreasonable that Stokes would be batting 4 in this team if someone like, say, Johnny Bairstow was included as a slightly more experienced batsman. But yeah, he's probably going to bat 5. Pope seems to have been spent most of his time batting number 6, but I think he's being thought of as a future number 4 batsman. 7 is probably going to be Joss Butler, which kind of surprised me. I thought about maybe they would be playing Ben Folkes. It might be time to sort of ease away from Joss Butler, but I'm kind of pleased that he's got another chance because I think he's such a capable a player with such a high ceiling that it would be. I just don't want to be the guy who makes the decision to finally discard him. I think. West Indies. To be honest with you, I don't really know what their batting lineup is going to be. I know that it's going to have Shai Hope and Roston Chase in it. I know that it's going to have Craig Braithwaite at the top, despite his lack of form, just because he has made a lot of runs in England on the previous series. It's going to have Shane Dowrich and Jason Holder let down the order. I have no idea who else is going to be playing for them. They are missing two semi-regular players in Darren Bravo and Shimron Hetmeyer. But I don't know. Do you know what their lineup is going to be?
I know.
All right, I'll read
I haven't
out.
done much research there. I'm just trying to look up some stuff now as well.
All right. Well, here's the. I'll read out the squad. The West Indies Test squad has Jermaine Blackwood, Nkrumah Bonner. I have stories about Nkrumah Bonner. Craig Brathwaite, Shamar Brooks, John Campbell, Roston Chase, Dowrich we mentioned, Rakeem Cornwall could feasibly bat in the top 7. Chamar Holder, who I don't know who it is, but apparently he's a bowler, so I'll ignore him. Shai Hope, and that is their batting. So we've got opening the batting, Braithwaite, and then presumably John Campbell or Shamar Brooks. Your number 3 is going to be Shai Hope. 4 and 5, either Blackwood and Bonner or Brooks, depending on if he's a middle order player, I don't know. And then you've got Dowrich and Hoddle down the order. But yeah, like I said, do we know anything about Shamar Brooks and Nkrumah Bonner or John Campbell?
Look them up. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, Shamar Brooks has played 3 tests. He's got 100, which was scored against. Doesn't say. He also has made 100 fairly recently for Barbados, and he can sometimes bowl some leg breaks, which he's bowled in first class cricket, but that's very part time. He made 66 not out in one of the warm up games.
My computer's just going really slow. Just give me
And
research.
Bonner averages 27 in first class cricket. I imagine he's there probably as a backup, and that leaves John Campbell, who has played a little bit more tests. He's played 6 tests and a handful of ODIs as well. He's apparently a top order left-hander, who takes after Chris Gale, according to his Cricket Info profile. He made 112 for Jamaica in his most recent first class game. So I'm guessing it's going to be those two filling in the gaps, Campbell and Brooks.
Is a very bright talent. Reading about him now. He played for West Indies under 19 and made his first class debut in 2007 before captaining them in the 2008 under 19 World Cup. So he debuted early in first class cricket, played under 19 cricket, captained them. And how did West Indies do in the 2008 under 19 World Cup? That's a long time ago. So this is a teenage prodigy who's coming late into the national side a little bit.
Who was that, sorry?
19 World Cup. Brooks. He was a teenage prodigy who probably faded away a little bit. Well, in that World Cup, they lost 2 games. They lost to South Africa and they lost to Papua New Guinea. No, sorry. They lost to India. They beat Papua New Guinea. Okay. Oh, Tony Hura was playing in that World Cup. I know Tony Hura. Yeah. Okay, so Brooks didn't play another first class round in 2015. So he was out of the first class system for 8 years after a bad performance in the 19 World Cup.
Wow.
No, sorry. My mistake. After 3 years. From 2007 to 2012.
That's a significant difference.
Right, I missed the line. He played in 2007 and he played a full run to 2012 where he was dropped Barbados. Came back in 2015 and he's been more consistent since then, although even then his average is like just below 40. I guess with first class games, honestly, there's such a volume of cricket that you go through so many slumps that when you have maybe 1 or 2 good seasons, you're ready to play international cricket, but your accord doesn't reflect it because you maybe had 5, 6 bad seasons before it in order to make that evolution in your game.
Yeah, the other thing to think about is in West Indies first class cricket, it's so bowler dominated, and pretty average finger spinners typically like bowl with their averages in the teens. So if you can average like 30, 35 in a season in West Indies domestic cricket, and if you can hit hundreds, you're doing all right. You're doing pretty well. Oh,
Exactly.
we have 3 listeners on Cricket Web Commentary.
Oh,
I know, right? It's there's only one way from here to the stars, uh, and Hannah, better known on the forums as
lucky
Maverick
Patreon.
Garlic, says, "Hello, Cricket Webbers and Lynch Thorax." Those are the comments so far.
Made his test debut against India. Why did I not remember this? Because India. I don't really watch India games as much anymore. India games tend to be a bit more not as entertaining to watch. Bumrah's fun though. I'll watch Bumrah. In November 2019, he scored 100 against Afghanistan. So it's all very recent cricket. It's all in the last year, which is when I've had not much time to watch.
That's the most recent cricket that there is.
Yeah. This is when shit was popping off in Hong Kong.
Yeah, with the notable exception of the Vanuatu Power T10, of course, which we're all big fans of.
So much good associated cricket going on. I've only watched like maybe 20% of it. I'm just every time I tune into Germany Club T20 League being live streamed, multiple camera angles, score overlay, commentary, the filthiest off spin you'll ever see, plastic stumps with bases, Astro pitch turf. It's like the cricket I play, but like even I watching that was like, oh, if I was there, I'd dominate. I should find a way to get into Germany.
You're nowhere near fat enough to be an off spinner in one of these games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, saw some good level cricket there in Germany.
Do you think? I mean, this is what a lot of these national teams are consisting of, though, right? It's these guys who go over there because they're working for like a German car company or something, and end up.
Shamar Brooks or
no, not Shamar Brooks. I'm talking about people who are in these games that are getting streamed from
all expats, all weekend warriors.
Yeah, all expats, and it's like, if we get enough guys together, we can enter the World Cup.
Exactly. You know what's sad? Hong Kong is like so much higher level than that, but like so much less people playing, and it's just frustrating because you're like, you see the standard, the highest level of cricket in Germany, and you're like, our Hong Kong high level cricket is way better than that. Yeah, but Germany's got 5 times as many people playing than you guys. Like, how?
Are you sure that was the highest level cricket that you found? Is that the highest level cricket in Germany, or was that like...
highest level they can put on right now? It's literally the highest level they can put on right now. They've got a broadcast, and that's what Vanuatu has a this year's cricket program. Put together their T10 Blast. They got basically the best 60 players in the country, which means all the national squad, all the A squad, all the under-19s, and then some club guys who are somewhat decent. The standard was actually, I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's not terrible. That's a good standard. So that's like a standard I can't think I'll ever play. Like, it's a level above club cricket.
Right.
But you look at Germany and someplace like that, their high standards pretty low, and that's why their national teams are not quite up there with the other associates, because they're still building that base level to get playing numbers. And in the coming years, they'll get that top level, and that's when you'll be like surprised, like how Hong Kong's really got to get the base layer bigger, or we just don't have the talent pool that these guys are going to have to pull from. Yeah. Okay. Off on a tangent there.
The reason, if you're just joining in with Cricket Web Commentary, which a few people are, the reason why we're having chatter about associates is that that there is no play at the moment because it's lunch. It's now lunch. We've taken an early lunch, and maybe there'll be a toss later on. So let's have a look at some questions or something.
English weather is literally the only thing that's worse than COVID.
That's harsh. Gonna go ahead and say that's harsh. Oh, SAC1 has been listening, and he says, "Hello Zorex, we missed you." That's nice.
That's nice.
A lot of people missed you. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll come back.
You will. Hannah says that she watched the Swedish cricket. I've never seen so many drop catches. Am I saying it correctly? Please correct me if I'm not, Hannah.
Watching Swedish cricket. Watching it.
Yeah, she says she's never seen so many drop catches.
No, it's amazing. Pressure being broadcast to millions of fans around the world.
Uh, they need someone who knows who Jermaine Blackwood is. I know who Jermaine Blackwood is because on the
I'm
very
excited to see Jeremy Blackwood. He's like the most fun batsman in this team.
on the very
Oh,
first ever Cricket Web
maybe.
commentary, I think we were doing England in the West Indies in 2015. This was way when we were doing it on Mixler and other such horrible bits of software. Um, there was a conversation where Nufan, I think it was Nufan, Nufan, I don't know how you pronounce it, commented, do you think Jermaine Blackwood is going to get 6,000 test runs or 8,000 test runs or some huge number of test runs? Gary Sober's got 8,000 test runs. And it's like, you have to say no, just under the basis of probability, right? You absolutely have to say almost all players are not successful test players in terms of the numbers, right? There are, I don't know, how many thousands of test cricketers? The vast majority of them play less than 10 tests. So you just have to say this is probably not going to work. But you never know. Blackwood has seriously upped
How
his
many
game
test
and his
runs does he have
temperament
now?
over the last few months. Oh, he's got about 1,200 or something. He's doing all
Yeah,
right,
1,200. He's
but
on the way.
you
He's only
know,
28 as well. He's on the way. He's well on the way to get 5,000, 6,000, Jake.
all right.
Shout.
Anyway, SEC1 has been listening. He says Blackwood has seriously upped his game and his temperament over the last few months.
So something I'm hyped to see him.
Over
I've
the
been
last
reading
few
his name a lot.
months?
Well, the last few months pre-COVID. Last couple of tours have been really good. And he's been doing well in domestic as well.
Okay, Hosh.
248 against Leeward Islands, the most round of the first class cricket league. As we're playing right now, they were staking the claim. The first class game happened just before everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy and Blackwood staked a very big claim with the 248.
I always get them mixed up, Leeward Islands and Windward Islands. Which is the islands that has Antigua and the good players, and which is the
I
team
don't
that
know.
has St. Lucia?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. CC to comment. He's played for Jamaica, so that's pretty straightforward. He was the leading run scorer in the tournament with 768 runs in 8 matches. So yeah, he's up his game, and I want to see how he goes. He's fun to watch as well.
Okay, so
I think I know John Campbell. I think I've seen. I'm just trying to remember if I
Harsh says talk
really
about
didn't know.
Broad versus Wood versus Wokes.
Or Broad versus
Wood versus
Wood.
Wokes. Only one of them is playing. It's probably going to be Wood.
I don't know why you guys play Wood.
Well, did you watch the South Africa series at all?
That's South African pitches. Why would you play him in England?
I think that's a reasonable point. The other point to be aware of is that South Africa were imploding when Mark Wood was playing. They were also getting out to Joe Root. So
Yeah, that's true. Root a fifer or something, didn't he? He nearly got there.
he got 4 and then
Yeah.
for done and ended up getting blattered into the stands by Keshav Maharaj. So there's that. Wood is, I don't know, he's always somebody that I've found I don't want to say overrated because that doesn't really mean anything, but he's somebody who tends to get talked up as somebody England should play because he isn't like Jimmy Anderson, which is
That's such a
often
bad argument.
which is often foolish because Jimmy Anderson is really fucking good.
Hmm.
So yeah, it seemed like an unnecessary viewpoint. It is true that I thought he was terrific in South Africa. He was bowling fast. He was bowling well. He was also bowling really quickly in the World Cup when I was being really skeptical about him as well. So I don't know. I'm hopeful for him, but he's so injury prone, and it's been such a relatively short period of time where he's actually seems to bowl fast as opposed to just not swinging, which is often erroneously called fast. That I'm skeptical still, but I want him to be good. I want him to be the player that a lot of people tell me that he consistently is. I don't even if he does, I don't think it'll last particularly long, but I don't think there's a lot to lose from finding it out. Because why not? Let's see what happens. What else have we got?
I think
As for Chris Wokes, we just know what he's capable of, and he's absolutely great if, say, Anderson's injured or something like that in a home test. I think he's a really good cricketer. I think England, more than missing Woakes' bowling in any way, would probably miss his runs down the order because he's a much more accomplished batsman than anyone else who would be batting 8 to 11. I think he's a better batsman than Sam Curran as well. But yeah.
So I think play what the defining feature of bowling is pace, and that's not what wins you games in England. It's not pace. Pace doesn't win you matches there. It's accuracy, it's swing, it's fitness. You got to bowl long spells. The quick bowler in England just like hold up an end because you can't always count on the spinner to hold up an end, especially in England, especially if your spinner's not used to those conditions. And West Indies are going to look to Chase and Cornwall to hold up an end essentially. So instead of Dom Bess, I would have actually probably I would go all seamers in England. I wouldn't pick Dom Bess.
Nah, if you drop the spinner,
Just
you
because
deserve to lose.
I don't think this West Indies lineup is going to bat long enough for you to be worried about your fast balls.
Well,
See, if you have 5 of them.
No, I don't agree with that. Firstly, England have got Ben Stokes, so they're already playing 4 seamers. Secondly, if you drop the spinner, I just feel like you deserve to lose because it never works anymore. And,
I'm a spinner. I'm the one advocating here for 5 quicks.
No, if you drop the spinner, you deserve to lose. It's just not. It's just not cricket. There needs to be a guy in there who does nothing for 2.5 days and then comes on and takes 4 for in the second innings. I feel that's important.
Depends how you think the pitch is going to.
And thirdly, this is another point. The Ageas Bowl is not a fast pitch. The Ageas Bowl is usually a bit of a pudding. It's quite slow, and the leading wicket taker there quite comfortably is Moeen Ali.
Okay.
So I think that's worth mentioning.
This pitch is probably one where you need a spinner. I'm just thinking now with all the rain and stuff, you're likely to have rain over 5 days. So you're going to have a damp pitch. You're going to have cloud cover, and you're going to only realistically play 3.5 days worth of cricket over the 5 days. In situations like this, I will lean towards dropping the spinner because if you're going to play 5 days in England on a hot 5 summer days on a hard wicket, yeah, you need the spinner because come day 4, day 5, that pitch is going to take some turn. It's going to be hot and your fast balls are going to be tired. But something like this, I think I'd go 5 quicks.
I think that's classic overthinking. I remember a good example would be New Zealand dropping the spinner at Headingley in 2013, and Graham Swan took 10 wickets.
Like a 3.5.
Using exactly the logic that you've just said, New Zealand dropped their spinner. They tried to play 4 quicks or even 5 quicks with it was 4 quicks plus Kane Williamson, I think was the justification, and then Graham Swan took 10 wickets, and was it
one of those games where it's like raining on and off for 3.5 days and stuff?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I remember Joe Root got 100. I think it might have been his first 100.
It's a game that goes all 5 days under the sun. Either spinner. I'm thinking in a game where you know it's going to be rainy and cloud affected over the course of the 5 days, and the forecast says that for this game. And you're basically only going to be on the field for 3.5 days out of the 5 days, and you're going to constantly have the cloud cover and a damp wicket and wet outfield. Because a spinner bowling with a ball that's anywhere a bit damp is just so ineffective. And you'd rather have 5 quicks in that scenario because they're not going to over bowl to break down.
Possibly. I think there's a not unreasonable chance of Joe Root taking wickets in this game because England do have an attack.
That's just cricket. At the end of the day, that's just cricket, man. It's just
England do have an attack that looks a little bit. It's a good attack. I think it's a positive attack, but it's also a little bit shaky. Anderson, in terms of fitness, it's shaky. Anderson is coming back from a period of injury. He missed the last 2 tests in South Africa. Archer, similar, and is a outright fast bowler, and Wood has been traditionally very injury prone, so it might be a bit of walking wounded. Absolutely certain that the 3 of them will probably not play another test in this series because Stuart Broad and Chris Rokes will come in at some stage. We have a bunch of comments that I've not bothered to read out. Damon, who's very cunningly changed his name to ensure pronunciation the way that he prefers it. That's fine. And if your name was Damon the entire time, then I would abide by that. But it wasn't. It was Demon. Anyway, he says there's a significant difference in volume between the 2 of you. I have tried to fix that. Let me know if it's better.
Difference in volume.
Volume, yeah. You were apparently coming through a lot louder than me. I've adjusted the mixture, so hopefully that's a bit better now. Let me know if it is or isn't. SEC1 clarifies that the leewards are the ones with Antigua and therefore usually the good team, and the windwards are the ones that don't and therefore don't. Hannah says, I thought West Indies were picking 9 Barbados players plus extras. John Campbell is Jamaica. That might be true. It sounds about right. I know that Roach and Blackwood and Brathwaite are all from Barbados. Is Jason Horner
Blackwood's
from
from
Barbados?
Jamaica, right? Blackwood's from he's from Jamaica.
Okay, cool.
Jamaica.
John Campbell is Jamaica as well, apparently. So they do have a bit of more of a mixture than last time. Any ideas on what they're having for lunch? Probably Tesco value sandwiches. I doubt it. Have you had the Tesco value sandwiches? Yeah.
No. No, I started getting Tesco products in Hong Kong.
Have they started? Are they like the Tesco has? Because Tesco's a big enough supermarket where they have like the standard own brand, the super value version, which is like 20p for like a massive bag of pasta or something, and then there's the Tesco Finest, as they call it, where they put it in the nice black packaging, trying to make it look like M&S. It's trying to cover all their bases at once. I imagine some of it is good. I know, amazing. Spiky says, Zorex, come back to
China.
Spiky is here. Spiky says, come back to Cricket Web or I'll make you come back.
Who? You?
No, Spiky says that.
He's saying that to you or to me?
He's telling that to you, yeah.
It's to you.
Interesting.
I'm so hyped for the Sunday's fights. Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. You're not following MMA at all, are you?
It took me a little while to process what you're talking about. No, I'm not following MMA because you showed it to me once and I thought it was awful.
Remember I told you about Fight Island?
Oh yeah, you told me about Fight Island. That's true.
This Sunday, this Saturday in USA, Sunday here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know what time zone they're fighting. They're fighting basically this weekend. First fight of Fight Island. It's happening. So it's so hyped. I'm so hyped for it. It's like amazing fights. All great fights through the cards. You've got, I think, 3 title fights. Men's 135, men's 145, and men's 175-pound titles.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got rematch between the former champion and former champion of a fight that probably no one's gonna watch. Rebus versus Paige Van Zandt. Basically, she's famous for being like a very pretty girl who was on Dancing with the Stars. And Rebus, I guess, is an up-and-coming prospect who they're trying to get over by putting her against someone who's popular but not as good a fighter. I think that's what's happening here. But I don't really know much about that fight.
Was she on Dancing with the Stars as a celebrity guest or as one of the dancers?
As a celebrity guest.
Because I think there's something quite funny about taking the dancers from Dancing with the Stars and making them fight people.
That would be perfect. That should be a little throwaway fight promotion.
In seriousness, though, I have nothing but respect for the the marketing and the branding and the way that they promote themselves and the hype gathering machine that MMA has become. However, I would vastly prefer it if it weren't about fighting people. That's my position.
Everything in life is about fighting people, Jay. One thing that.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm gonna ask you a question now because it's been requested. But if this discussion takes more than 30 seconds, we failed as a product. Okay? If you were to melt some butter in a frying pan,
okay,
and then place the bread on top of that until it goes crispy and brown,
okay,
what have you made?
What have you made? That's a good question. Explicitly for it, as far as I'm aware. Depends what you're doing. Because like if you made a sandwich and you've cooked it on both sides that way, that's a grilled cheese sandwich. If you've tried to make croutons and you've cooked it all the way through, when you cook croutons in the oven, you're getting that texture. I know what they're talking about because that's how I make my bread that way. I call it toast. Toast is probably the most appropriate word.
Wow. All right.
Solve it.
Well, I mean, you've taken a side, and you're going to have to abide by the consequences. You've taken sadly the incorrect side because that is fried bread.
What's the correct answer? What's the answer?
Well, the answer is fried bread. But
bread.
yeah.
There's no such thing as
because
fried bread.
toast is
That's a new name. That's a brand new thing. Bread.
right. That's fine. It's fine for different people to call words different things. From my point of view, I think toast and fried bread are distinct. A lot of people in other parts of the world seem to refer to them both as toast. That's
British
okay.
people eat something called fried bread, and that's what it is.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get
Is
past
that
it.
such
Like
an
I said,
integral
no,
part
we're
of your
not
diet?
discussing
They
this
gave it a
anymore.
specific name.
We're
It's
not.
an
We're
integral
not.
part of your diet that it deserves its own name. That's brilliant. It's absolutely every stereotype of British food just confirmed right there. The British food is so boring. They fry bread. That's a dish.
No, fried bread is an alternative to toast, and you have it with like a fried breakfast or something. But it isn't quite the same thing. Was the entire discussion, which by the way was about 10 pages long on Cricket Web.
I don't care about that, but basically it's a delicious thing.
All right, it's fine. I will go with that.
It's British. It's
They're,
brilliant. It's
they're
delicious.
both nice.
They're both.
Oh, Damon here is saying that's not how it works, but I don't care. Just enjoy your life. It's fine.
How what? Leave it.
We do have a comment from Hannah, which is
about...
yes, toast. So I'm glad that I guess we're a good product. Who knows?
So this test match. We were talking before during the pre-match analysis that we were talking about Denley and Zach Crawley, and I mentioned how the analysis here, Southampton and Mr. Hussein, and they were doing that video call with each other, Michael Holding. Mm-hmm. They were all just like, "Oh, Crawley is younger. Joe Denley, he's very, very fit for his age, and they're both scrappy. And do you invest in Zach Crawley?" At no point did anyone bother to talk about the merits of their actual batting skill. Like that was not relevant. Like how they actually bat, what runs that they scored. It's just like, we know you're both mediocre. Do we go for the young mediocre or the old fit mediocre?
The chances are they'll both play because Joe Root's out.
Yeah, they were talking about when Joe Root returns for the next test.
Ah, I see.
They're already so prepared to drop them. They're like, hey, we've got nothing else to talk about. We're all wondering this. When Joe Root gets back,
even if they both made hundreds, Joe Root would be playing on the next test. In which, sorry.
Exactly. Even if they both made hundreds.
Yeah, Joe Root would be playing the next test. Do you honestly see a world in any possible situation in which Joe Root doesn't play the second test?
Yes. They're not like pleasant situations.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like if he dies or something, isn't it? Right.
Gets the Rona.
Honest Barani says, "Why do you sound like Sanjay Bangar?" Do you want to offer any explanation as to who that is or why he made that comment?
Sanjay Bangar is a legend of Indian cricket. Was one of those guys who was mediocrely talented, but the most of his skills is like a little nagging medium pacer and defensive batsman. He had lots of success playing in England, if I remember correctly, because he could occupy the crease at the top and bowl these little seam up swingers that worked. And he was hardworking. He was diligent. He stuck to the game plan. He didn't, like Akash Chopra kind of batsman who he knows these are my 3 scoring shots and everything else I defend. Mm-hmm. He did that for hours on end. So, very good player. And then he took on a role in administration in Indian cricket and has done some fantastic things. From what I'm aware, he's also a coach, I think, as well. I don't know the full details of his career, but I see his name in headlines a lot and usually with good things. And he's quite a popular figure amongst Indian fans. So I don't know why I sound like him, but yeah.
It's all right. I've been told that I sound like a lot of people I don't sound like. It's not a big deal.
You sound like?
Sorry?
Do you sound like?
Well, I mean, I've been told that I sound like Jonathan Agnew, and I've been told that I sound like Nick Knight, and neither of those people have the same accent as me, so it's a bit of a stretch.
Ouch. Racism is real, folks. Racism is real.
I wouldn't quite go as far as to call it racism. Hong An Lee, who I think is Spark. I may be getting that incorrectly, but welcome nonetheless. SEC1 says that I sound like Ian Ward. I think that's because he happened to be listening to Ian Ward on Sky not too long ago, and that's just the first English person he thought of.
Exactly, right. I do love did a little segment here on Sky Sports before when the toss was delayed. They ran a segment about the Black Lives Matters, and they had
Mm.
everyone being interviewed and talking about the
Goodness,
actions. And it was really powerful. It was really, really good.
that was a bit fiery for Sky Sports, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
This is
was brilliant.
they.
Just, and then after that, because the toss was delayed, to each person in the commentary booth. So I think it was Nasser Hussain, Atherton, Holding. Is her name Ebony Rainford? No, sorry.
Emily
I don't know
Rainford
who
Brent. She was
it's,
called Rainford when
Emily
she was
Rainford.
playing, but she's Rainford Brent now.
Emily Rainford. Is she related to the Zimbabwe? There's a fast bowler with the same last name who played for Zimbabwe. I don't know if they're related.
Rainsford, I think, is the one you're thinking of.
Emily Rainsford. It was brilliant, and yeah, they came back to them all live, and they all just added on to what they already said in the video and explained their thought process, and it was live. It was not scripted. It was just them speaking. It was really, really good. It was really, really well done. So I think that for me, it's just like, you know, they've taken this platform and they're using it quite well.
Yep. I'm trying to offer. I'm trying to come back from offering my 2 cents on this sort of thing, because I think we've probably had enough white people offering their hot takes. Honest Brani suggests that I sound like George DeBell, which, to be honest, is a lot more accurate, at least in terms of accent, but I'm still not particularly happy about it. He also points out that Gary Brent did play for Zimbabwe.
Her husband played for Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but Rainsford is just a guy that we might have heard of, Hannah, rather than someone we think is related necessarily.
Yeah. Ed Rainsford is a Zimbabwean cricketer.
Yeah, he now does commentary in Bangladesh games, according to SCC1. Okay.
That's how I know him. So that's what I'm saying. I knew there was a commentator called Ed Rainsford, and then when Emily Rainsford showed, I'm just like, wait, am I missing something here? Are they both related? How are they both two Rainsfords, in commentary? Just like, and then just two completely unrelated people. Pretty cool.
It's not that weird.
I don't see that often.
Seeing a. Oh, this is. Who's this on at the moment? Talking about
Go use the
3Ws.
bathroom.
Sunny Ramadan is here on Sky at the moment.
You need to use the washroom. You can carry on.
I think actually we're not going to carry on for a little while because it's still lunchtime. So I think at the very least I'm going to pause the stream, and we might come back on in about half an hour or so if we get some toss news, because I think we've probably done enough burbling for now. But thank you very much for joining us for a impromptu cricket web commentary discussion, and hopefully we'll be able to get back on it. But I'm going to pause it for now. So see you later.